What's going on, guys, and welcome to the new space. My wife and I just recently moved into our first home. Guys, I can't wait to show you guys this room. Immediately before we moved all of our stuff in, we started painting, we started going crazy, making sure this was an awesome space to film and edit and all the things photo and film. That's in a future video. For today's video, we're gonna be talking about the GVM light mat. Some of you guys may have never heard of that company or what even this light is, and that's the goal of this video, is to break down all the specs, features, and we're gonna go toe-to-toe with the Amaran F22. Let's dig into it. All right, we're gonna be talking about GVM's all new RGB fully colored light mat. GVM is a Chinese company. If you aren't familiar with them, their company stands for Great Video Makers. And in this video, I'm gonna dive into the features of this light, the build quality, can it withstand normal day-to-day set life? Also the differences between the GVM light mat versus a light like an Amaran F22, and see how it stacks up. Does it compare? It has loads of features like an app control, tons of different features like party tricks and paparazzi and fireworks, all the things you usually get in a modern light like this. I'm also curious to see the differences in not having a bulky controller like with the Amaran F22, because with the GVM, you don't have any controller. The control is on the head unit. I'm curious to see if that's gonna be a problem when you're hiking up on a C-stand. We'll save that for a later part of this video, but right now, I'm just gonna pull the bag out. I'm just gonna unzip it, and you guys are gonna get my raw first initial impressions and all the different things you get included in this kit. And just a disclaimer, guys, GVM didn't sponsor this video, but they kindly sent us this light for free in exchange for this review. But they didn't pay us to say exactly what they wanted to hear. This review is solely based on our user experience. All right, so here we go. You get this nice bag. I mean, this thing is ginormous. It's pretty sturdy. I would say, I mean, you got some fraying already. I think GVM, they're like, hey, you know, you guys only got like 2,000 subs, 60 people are gonna watch this video. Hey, no big deal, doesn't hurt my feelings. I love doing this, and hey, send me a frayed bag. I lied, this isn't my first sneak peek at all the contents in this bag. I have taken a look, and some of them are a little rickety, and I'll get into it, but some, you know, for the most part, it's pretty solid bag. Little fraying, like I said, solid corners. I think this thing will withstand some normal day-to-day set life. And obviously, we're not throwing our gear around, so I want you guys to take my words with a grain of salt. Don't go crazy and be like, well, man, you know, these guys are just throwing their stuff around. Like, I will compare the build quality of this to the Amaran F22 and see if it stacks up, if it's better, and I'll let you guys know. But as far as the case, this is pretty solid. Let's dive into this thing, shall we? Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, you guys can't see me. Look at that. Pretty solid. My Amaran F22 case, the straps here, broken already. I mean, I kind of have to hold the bag up. Honestly, my Amaran F22, I never use the bag anymore. I just keep it built out because these light mats, they just take so long on set. I know it probably takes like 3 minutes to set up, but 3 minutes on set and 3 minutes, you know, getting everything else prepared for a shoot just adds too much time for me. And so I usually just bring my Amaran F22 fully built out with the softbox and the, you know, diffusion, everything. But as far as this whole amp, this is nice, you know, but I'm assuming this will eventually rip or break like my Amaran F22 case did, but who knows, time will tell. All right, so let's go ahead and unhook this so I can get this flat so you guys can see. There we go. Okay, so first of all, we got a bag of our, this is basically our swivel head, you know. This is just gonna give you a different angle, tilting and side to side with your light. So I'll put that to the side for now. We'll look at that here in a little bit. We have our power brick here. This is a DC barrel cable that goes into the light, and this is gonna go into the power brick like so, and then this is your AC plug into the wall. So that's it. And if you know, if you have an Amaran F22, you have this, decently sized ballast that you either hang on a C-stand or you can get a specific holder for it that is really nice and it connects to it. But no ballast for this light, and we'll see how that goes. But this is basically it for your cabling. Here's your diffusion. This looks to be about a one-stop silk, if not a 1.5. Just a preface, all LED light mats are already generally softer than a point source light, and that's just the way they are designed. So any diffusion in front of a light mat is only going to soften the light even more. But if you didn't have any diffusion in front of it, it's already decently soft. So this is a nice little diffusion there. And these things get beat up, and I mean, the more you put on and take off, the Velcro just starts to fray, it gets dirty, it just gets, this diffusion rag gets dirty. So, like I said, I have my F22 fully built out already, so I never have to take this off. So that's kind of a pro tip when you have these lights, is if you have the space, just keep it built out, you'll be fine. Here's a nice little power brick holder. See, this has a V-mount plate on the back, and your brick here has a V-mount kind of bolted in there. So basically you put this around your stand. The size of this may or may not fit a combo stand. This should fit a C-stand. I'll test that in a second, but definitely a little smaller, cheaper light stand. This looks like it's designed for. But yeah, this basically is a V-mount, and it'll just hold your brick so it's not on the ground. Clicks in like that. This will connect to your light, and then this attaches to your stand. Nice and cool design that allows you to stay tidy with all your cabling. All right, so now we have the mount. Oh boy. If you have ever owned an Amaran F22 and you know the mounts that they started with, they actually did a recall and sent brand new ones. Yep, this is the same design. Yeah, where you gotta, this is, oh my. This is the same design where you have to bend the end of this metal piece into the grooves or into the slots of your light mat. And I'll demonstrate that here in a little bit. But this is basically your mount. And you can store it like this in that little felt bag that I just tossed on the ground. But you basically can store it like that, nice and tidy. And then when you're ready to mount your light, you open the metal bar, and then you have these screws here that you can just tighten. And you get it tight, boom, there you go. So now that's locked in. You can do that for all four corners. And that way this fits into your light. And then on the other side, this is your baby pin that will fit into a grip head to put on your C-stand or light stand or combo. However, whatever flavor you're using to hang your light. But yeah, that's the mount. I am curious to dive into this mount because, man, I can't tell you how many times I hiked up my light overhead for a top down or even just a regular key, and the light just slips right out of the corners of this, and it gets kind of dangerous. It could fall on your client or fall on yourself, and then you're done in this town. You're never getting work again. Might as well move, change your address, change your phone number, because one of these things falls on your client, you're done. So yeah, these aren't my favorite mounts, but I am curious to see how this one stacks up as compared to the old mount from the Amaran F22, and then I'll show you the new mount that they have. That's a great design. It hooks in rather than slipping in. So we'll see. All right, so now here's a softbox. Yep, just general softbox. This is going to be your 2x2 square that fits and Velcros around your mat. And inside you have a silver reflector so that you can bounce the light coming from your light. As it hits the edges, it's just going to direct to your talent. And yeah, you got nice Velcro around. This is a pretty good sturdy build quality here. Okay, and here's our light. Slip it out of there. Here it is. All right, and on the inside, you have a ton of LED lights all throughout the inside of this mat. And man, this is pretty nice. This is a good build quality here. The stitching is solid. It looks, you know, nice and tight, the corners, plastic corners, but these are pretty sturdy. These look pretty durable. I like the build quality of this mat. I think this will last for sure. And here's the control. This dial here has constantly fallen off after I took this out of the bag, and I didn't really touch it. It just kept falling off. I'm not sure. This looks like a used model that they sent me. Doesn't look like a new model. Again, it's the 2,000 subs. We're gonna send you the you know, the old model. It's all beat up, scratched. It's all good. You know, it's all good. Love them anyways. All right, so let's get this thing plugged in, and I'll run you guys through the menu, all the features, all the colors, and tell you what I think of it. Let's get this thing fired up. Oh, here it is. There's a little baby switch on and off. Pretty simple. All right, that's our intensity at 100. Sorry, y'all. Blasting, y'all. LEDs are consistent. Something happened with my Amaran F22. Half of it is warmer, the other half is cooler. It's kind of cool. It's kind of a nice effect. I've just kind of leaned into it, but I don't think that's the way it was designed. So you can dial the percentage by 0.1%, which is actually really nice and something you don't really think about, because if you're on set and you really want it to just go up 0.5, you can do that instead of it going in 1 or 2, 3% increments. Now, since this is a full RGB light, you can dial in tints. You can go plus or minus green, which is really nice if you're in a room and you really need to dial in your whites. Here's our CCT range. It's pretty massive. You got, here, let's go all the way down. This is a 2000 Kelvin, which is really warm. And then you can have this go all the way up to 10,000 Kelvin, which is really cool. So you get a nice range of CCT colors if you just wanted to dial in your lighting based on the CCT range. Now also you have a full RGB light, so you have hundreds of colors, if not thousands. And obviously with the Amaran F22c, you get all of these functionalities and features as well, with your CCT range, your color temperature, your tint shift, all the color ranges. So basically, to go back to the menu, you push and hold the dial. There's a Bluetooth setting so that you can connect your phone, which is really awesome. That has been the biggest feature and reason why we stick with the Amaran and Aperture lineup is because of the app control. And we always talk about it in our videos, when you're on set, when you're dialing in your lights, no matter if you have a 2 or 3 man crew, 1-person crew, or a 20-man crew, it's always nice to stand behind the monitor, the director's monitor, with your phone. All of your Aperture and Amaran lights are set up, and you just dial it in from there. It's so convenient. You don't have to go and run and go change the intensity on the light and then come back and see if it made any difference. You can just stand behind the director's monitor and just do it from your phone. That's a big positive for this product, to have a dedicated phone app. This is your full color spectrum. Really cool. Tons of color options. I mean, endless amounts. You got different shades of red, different shades of purple, pink, magenta, blue, teal. There's your full spectrum of colors. Really neat. And then you obviously have your sat. So here's at 100%, and you can always dial these back to kind of be more of a subdued, desaturated color. So just endless options on creativity and possibilities as far as a colored RGB light mat. So you have different effects. You have a lightning effect, you have a faulty bulb, TV, fireworks, candle, all kinds of cool stuff. Just standard stuff that normally comes in a modern day light. All right, so really cool features in this light. Build quality feels great. As I was putting the mount on, you know, I mentioned that I didn't really prefer those, you know, fold in, like bend the metal into the corner type mounts. But man, this thing is actually pretty strong. I was shaking it and really trying to loosen it up, but I mean, it feels solid. It really locks in. So as far as durability goes and withstanding, you know, shoot after shoot, I think if you don't dismantle this after each shoot and you just take it off the stand, put it in your car, take it out of the car, put it back on the stand, I think if you treat it like that, I think this thing can really last. I feel like the build quality is very similar to the Amaran F22. I do like the durability and build quality of the actual mat itself as compared to the Amaran F22. I feel like the Amaran F22 is a little bit more flimsy. The corners on this mat are really solid. Okay, let me talk about the bracket a little bit. Not my favorite bracket. Reason being is because it's an all plastic design. It has this plastic crank on the side that I do not like. I've had these in the past and I've broken them before, and you know, they're just prone to break. And honestly, I'm not, when I first took it out of the bag, this is exactly how it is. I didn't do anything to it. And I got it all the way loosened up, and I don't want to go any further. If you've used these before or have grip heads and you've screwed it out all the way, the screw comes out and all the washers and you're looking for it. So I don't want to unscrew it anymore. But still, even with it being this loose, the teeth are, oh, they're so strong. I mean, they are not budging, which is not a good thing, because when you loosen this up, you want the teeth to separate a little bit and you want this thing to be able to swivel. I don't know if I need to do something with the screw. That's just how it came out of the box. But as compared to the Amaran F22 bracket, which is an all metal design, super rigid and strong and durable. And that's exactly what you need when you're putting a light overhead. It's not just about the bracket on the light or the light mat itself. It's also the angled bracket as well. You want this to be strong and you want this to be durable. So having this, not having the crank, and look how smooth the swivel is. It's just a lot better design as far as the bracket goes. So a big plus for the Amaran F22. Thumbs down as far as the bracket on the GVM Lite. All right, in regards to big bulky ballasts and power bricks, the Amaran F22 has a separate ballast that isn't attached to the light mat. In comparison to the GVM Lite, the controller is attached to the actual light mat. It's really small, discreet, minimal, so it really doesn't add any weight. But the pros and cons to that is if you have your controller on the back of the light mat, imagine you are hiking your light mat up on a C-stand and you have it in place already and you're wanting to adjust intensity and color temperature. Well, then you connect it to your phone app, right? But what if the Bluetooth connectivity between your phone and the light get disconnected? Well, now you're in a conundrum, because now you got to pull the light back down. You got to get behind the light, go to the menu, do the Bluetooth reset. This has happened to me plenty of times with other Amaran and Aperture products where I've lost Bluetooth connectivity between the light. But again, I haven't had a thorough test with the Bluetooth connectivity of this light. So I'm not sure if it will stay connected, if it does a better job than the Amaran and Aperture products, because sometimes those lights, they get reset, they get disconnected from my phone. I got to do the Bluetooth reset again. And it is nice to have that separate ballast to where I'm not having to change the placement of my light just to get to the control box. Now, speaking of bulky ballasts and power sources, the GVM not having a bulky controller means that it doesn't have a fan. It's fanless, which could be good and bad. As far as noise levels, there's no fan, no noise. I've seen reviews online. I've had some friends actually reach out asking about the fan noise of their Amaran F22. In my use case, I've never really noticed the noise, nor has it been a disruption in my audio, but I've had some friends reach out saying that the noise from their fan, from their specific model, is a little loud. So not having a fan, having a fan is not a deal breaker for me. Now, what I am curious to know is when the GVM is fully blasting at 100% in a warmer condition, will it stay on? Will it overheat? It is a little bit comforting with the Amaran F22 to know that there is a little bit of circulation going on inside the controller and the power source. So, and I've never had an issue with the Amaran F22 being in a warmer setting and it overheating. So not having a fan kind of makes me uncomfortable, but I'm curious to see if this thing still fires and boots up at 100% in like 80 degrees, 90 degree temperatures. Now let's keep going on the topic of power source and the difference between the Amaran and the GVM. The GVM has one power source, plug it into the wall. The Amaran F22 has two power sources. You can plug it into the wall, or you can have a V-mount attached to it. So that's really convenient. If you've ever used a V-mount with one of these light mats, it just adds that much more capabilities. So on the back of this controller, there is a V-mount slot where you can simply slide in your V-mount, boom, and hit the power button, and there you go. You have power wirelessly, which is really convenient. So if you are in those situations where you're running and gunning, you're moving so fast, you got so many shots on the shot list, they don't even have time to plug into a wall. Well, having V-mount capabilities is really nice and convenient. V-mount capabilities is especially useful for a home studio like this. I have two Amaran lights on the wall that are both being run by V-mounts. I could easily plug it in, but it gets bulky, all the cables flying around. Personally, I hate cables. I love being neat, nice and tidy, minimal. So having my lights being run off of V-mounts is a huge plus, and it's a huge plus for the Amaran F22. Not a deal breaker for the GVM light, but just something to keep in mind if you are wanting V-mount capabilities. Okay, let's look at the differences between the brackets. So like I said, when Amaran first came out with the F22 models, they had a very similar design to the GVM bracket. Now since then, they did a whole recall. They emailed everyone that owned an Amaran F22 and started sending these new brackets for free, which really speaks to the fact that their older brackets just weren't holding up. You would put it in, you would fold it in, and then you could shake it once and the whole thing would fall out. Now, obviously we're not gonna be shaking our light, but when you're putting it up on a stand, it's not just sitting still, it is actually shaking up and down because maybe it's on a C-stand arm, maybe it's on a boom arm, and or Menace arm, whatever you put it on, and it's gonna have a little wiggle. So a good test whenever you're putting your bracket on is to give it a little shake. With the design, it definitely makes me feel more comfortable hanging this over people's heads because it's a hook design and it's got a spring in it. So you basically just put it in the corner, you push the spring back, and these hooks line up with the grooves of the light mat. So there's definitely something to keep in mind when you are using the GVM light mat is to really test the rigidity of your bracket, shake it, and just know that because of the design of the bracket, it isn't going to be as secure as this newer Amaran F22 bracket because the bracket isn't actually physically hooking into something. It's really just bending into the corners, and it's actually surprisingly strong. But again, time will tell if this holds up to the newer Amaran F22 brackets. So that's it guys on my review of the GVM light mat. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, this style, the new setup. I'm pumped. I can actually film any direction in this studio and I don't feel self-conscious about my bed in the shot or my dirty socks or God knows what in my bedroom because that's where I was before. Thank God we're in this new office space and there's tons of room and every direction is cinematic. And as far as the GVM light mat, would I use it? Would I recommend it? I would. I do appreciate some of the differences that they went the extra mile to separate themselves from the Amaran F22. Don't forget guys, if you have a question regarding this product or any lighting tip or whatever it is, drop it in the comments down below. We'll be sure to answer any of your questions. And if you guys like this video, hit the thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. I've been seeing so many of y'all just cruising, watching the videos, sitting on the sidelines, coming in and out. Please, if you are constantly watching our videos and enjoying them, subscribe. Hit the notifications bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. We appreciate you guys a ton, and we'll see you in the next one.